Hello everyone. It is indeed a matter of great honor and pleasure for me to be speaking on this August platform live on undoubtedly one of the most interesting and eternally enigmatic topic, that is cancer. Before starting this session, may I request all of you to kindly put your phones in all silent mode, and I am indeed very much thankful to all of you for taking out your precious time to attend this live session. Who can understand cancer, the meaning of add more to life better than us as cancer surgeons? Since it is our daily endeavor to fight against this disorder for the betterment of our patients in every as well as in the best possible way. I am Dr. Abhinav Yashwant Deshpande. I am a consultant cancer and robotic surgeon at National Cancer Institute, Nagpur, India. I did my master's in surgery from KM Hospital, Mumbai, and super specialization, that is MCH, in surgical oncology from BJ Medical College and Gujarat Cancer Research Institute, Ahmedabad. After that, I did a year-long fellowship in robotic cancer surgery from Manipal Hospitals, Bangalore, and did my advanced training in robotic oncosurgery from United States as well as Seoul, South Korea. During this entire journey, in trying to understand how cancer really looks like for the past 2 decades, I came across this very interesting as well as intriguing line by Delmont that cancer really doesn't have a face until it's yours or someone you know. Unfortunately, I came face to face with it on my professional as well as on my personal fronts. I was in the first year of my residency in surgery when one of my closest family members suffered from this dreaded disorder. It was shattering for me and my entire family, but with our determination, resilience to fight against it together, we managed it pretty well. And hence, I decided to take up this oncosurgery or cancer surgery branch due to my own personal trauma, experience, as well as interest in it. So, let me quickly take you through this cancer story, and let's all of us try to understand this condition in a better possible way. Now, what exactly is cancer? Cancer hota kya hai? So, cancer is not one particular disease. It is basically a group of diseases which involve uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells. See, now you have to take into consideration these three important points. In my entire talk, I am going to keep on focusing on three important aspects for every possible scenario. कैंसर के केस में भी तीन इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट्स है. वन, इट इज अनकंट्रोल्ड ग्रोथ. सेकंड, इट इज ऑफ abnormal cells. एंड थर्ड, पोटेंशियल टू स्प्रेड और इन्वेड. ये तीन इंपॉर्टेंट चीजें हमको कंसिडरेशन में लेनी है. कैंसर जो है वो एक सिंगल डिसीज नहीं है, वो ग्रुप ऑफ डिसीजेस है विच इंक्लूड, एज आई सेड, अनकंट्रोल्ड ग्रोथ ऑफ abnormal cells एंड पोटेंशियल टू इन्वेड और स्प्रेड टू अदर पार्ट्स ऑफ द बॉडी. हम इसको मेटास्टेसिस करते कहते हैं, जो कि कॉमनली स्टेज 4 बोलते हैं, एंड विच इज अनफॉर्चुनेटली द मेजर कॉज ऑफ डेथ फ्रॉम कैंसर, जिसमें कैंसर जो है वो पूरे संपूर्ण शरीर में स्प्रेड हो चुका है. तो उसके अलग अलग टर्मिनोलॉजीज भी है. कैंसर इज ऑल्सो नोन एज नियोप्लाज्म और मैलिग्नेंट ट्यूमर. दिस इज डिफरेंट फ्रॉम बिनाइन ट्यूमर्स. बिनाइन ट्यूमर्स क्या होता है? बिनाइन ट्यूमर्स वो होते हैं जो स्प्रेड नहीं होते, डिस्टेंट स्प्रेड जिसका नहीं रहता है. सो नाउ दिस वर्ड कैंसर हैज कम फ्रॉम द ग्रीक वर्ड कार्किनोस. What does carcinos mean? Carcinos in our layman terminology is basically a crab. All of us have seen a crab, right? So crab, how does a crab look like? Crab, that is, there is a main mass or the main body of the crab, and it has its tentacles or the legs which are trying to spread in the underlying region. उसके अलग अलग जो पाँव रहते हैं, जो वो वाले रीजन में फैलने का कोशिश करते हैं. सो दैट कैन बी लाइकन्ड टू दिस सिमिलर डिसऑर्डर बिकॉज द स्वोलन वेन्स अराउंड अ ट्यूमर मास, इट रिजेंबल्ड द लिम्स ऑफ अ क्रैब. दैट्स व्हाई दिस वर्ड कैंसर हैज कम फ्रॉम द ग्रीक वर्ड कार्किनोस. हमको कैंसर का बेसिक जो है, एटलीस्ट नाउ वी गॉट टू नो व्हाट एग्जैक्टली इज द डेफिनेशन ऑफ कैंसर. नाउ the bigger and the more unfortunate part of it. What is the gravity of the problem? कैंसर का ओवरऑल इम्पैक्ट क्या है, हम सबने ही सुना है. फिलहाल की सिचुएशन में, इन करंट सिनेरियो, कैंसर अनफॉर्चुनेटली इज द सेकंड लीडिंग कॉज ऑफ डेथ इन द एंटायर वर्ल्ड. एंड globally, if you compare, according to the World Health Organization, 1 out of 6 deaths, 6 में से 1 death is unfortunately because of cancer. In comparison to our own Indian data, that is जो Indian Council of Medical Research का कैंसर का रजिस्ट्री प्रोग्राम है, imagine one woman is dying of cervical cancer every 8 minutes in India. So can you believe it that till the time we are done with this speech and the live program, approximately 5 to 7 females in India would have died because of one single disease, that is cervical cancer. For every 2 females who are newly diagnosed with breast cancer, unfortunately 1 woman dies of it in India. Now mortality due to tobacco, that is तंबाकू सेवन के वजह से इंडिया में more than 3,500 persons are affected every day in India. 3,500 के ऊपर लोग are getting affected only because of one particular substance, that is tobacco. So if we try to analyze in the current scenario, we may have something like a burden of 15 lakh cases in India by the year of 2025 based on these current trends. So what does that mean? It is very startling that 1 in 10 Indians, 1 amongst 10 of us will suffer from cancer, and 1 in 15 would unfortunately lose their battle during their lifetime to cancer, according to the World Health Organization. So इसीलिए that is the main important part is we should be aware about this dreaded disorder. And the best part about it is, in case if we are totally aware about it, in case if we receive treatment early, the best part of it is that it can be curable in many cases, right? Now, why it is so difficult to hit cancer as in comparison to many other disorders? Why every time it is like we are afraid of this terminology, that is cancer? Because the problem is when we are targeting cancer, we have to answer 3 different types of questions. That is, what are we basically trying to target or hit during the cancer treatment? Why are we trying to use that particular system or the modality? And third is, how are we going to target it? Now just imagine, everybody of us has seen the game of archery, that is with a bow and arrow. Now imagine if you are having a bow and arrow and you are trying to hit the bullseye. The problem with cancer is that the cancer you are able to target is through the bullseye, that is the precise location. But unfortunately, imagine that the bullseye is continuously flipping and rotating. That is the problem, that cancer has evolved over a period of time, and it itself undergoes different mechanics and tries to escape through our conventional treatment modalities. That is why it is difficult to hit cancer. But on the other hand, human race has made tremendous progress in tackling cancer and also to a certain extent beating it at many different places. So there is a lot of optimism also, even if the patient has been recently diagnosed of cancer. Now, going into the flow of it, first we described what exactly is cancer, the problem statement of cancer, why it is difficult to tackle cancer, and now the most interesting as well as the most intriguing part, that why cancer happens. See, it is extremely difficult for us to really put forward our theory as to why exactly now the cancer has happened. Many patients, they do come to us, they said that, sir, okay, I'm a teetotaler, I don't drink alcohol, I don't smoke, I don't eat any non-vegetarian diet, I follow all healthy practices, but still unfortunately I am diagnosed with this particular type of cancer. So what I could kind of correlate cancer with was, it is as simple and as similar to like an accident. Now just imagine you are going with your family on a weekend drive, and you see in front of you there is a car which has hit the divider, or there is a car which has hit a stationary object, or there is a collision between two cars. This is a very common scenario. Cancer is somewhat the happening of cancer or the etiology of cancer can be likened to something like an accident. Now, again, as I said, the rule of three. If we try to decode as to why that accident had happened. Now, imagine for that accident to happen, there are three different types of causes again. That those are basically the risk factors. Like there are some vulnerable factors, there are certain contributing factors, and there are certain direct factors. Now, like for example, what are vulnerable factors? Vulnerable factors are a person who has recently learned driving and he is now for the first time directly taking his vehicle on highway or a ghat. Now the contributing factor is, imagine that the weather has suddenly changed and it is raining heavily. Now this has contributed towards that incidence or towards that accident. It is slowly contributing. And direct factor is, now the car's brakes are failed. Just imagine all the three things. Now there is a bang. That exactly what happens with cancer. Now to exactly correlate it with something like breast cancer के केस में भी अगर हमने ये तीन फैक्टर्स कंसिडरेशन में रखे, like vulnerable factors, contributing factors and direct factors, तो ब्रेस्ट कैंसर की केसेस में जैसे अर्ली मेंसेस एंड लेट मिनोपॉज, दीज आर सम ऑफ द वल्नरेबल फैक्टर्स. दैट इज मासिक जो है वो बहुत जल्दी आना और बहुत लेट तक रहना. This is one of the important vulnerable factor. Then if the female doesn't have pregnancy or lactation is not there, they are all vulnerable factors. Such females have that vulnerability towards breast cancer. Then second is the contributing factor. Now what are the different contributing factors? It is like lack of exercise, then excess of alcoholism, then certain harmful substances and ingestion of pesticides and chemicals. So these are some of the contributing factors which can unfortunately pull a patient more towards that happening or that accident. And the third would be something like a direct factor. As I mentioned, that direct factor like radiation therapy, चेस्ट वॉल रेडिएशन लिया है, या फिर अगर इफ दे आर ऑलरेडी इनहेरेंट म्यूटेशंस, जो हम काफ़ी बार बोलते हैं कि ये जेनेटिकली ट्रांसमिट हुआ है क्या, अगर ऑलरेडी इफ द जीन्स आर प्रेजेंट, these can be sometimes considered as direct factors. So again, all the three contributing factors like vulnerable factors, contributing factors and direct factors would eventually unfortunately lead to the occurrence of breast cancer. उसमें breast cancer होने का संभावना बहुत ज़्यादा बढ़ता है. ऐसा नहीं है कि अगर इंडिविजुअली ये तीन फैक्टर्स किसी पेशेंट में है तो 100% ब्रेस्ट कैंसर होगा, नहीं, बट चांसेस ऑफ ब्रेस्ट कैंसर विल colorectal malignancy can also be likened to these similar risk factors like lung cancer में air pollution. These can be sometimes the vulnerable as well as the contributing factors. तो आप कोई भी कैंसर लीजिए, all these factors can definitely be put forth as one of the important risk factors. So in order to sum it up, अभी risk factors for cancer हमने कौन सी चीज़ों में देखे. One is the genetic risk factors, like already there is a strong family history for a patient of cancer. Then second is the environmental exposure to toxic substances like radiations or asbestos, उसके लिए अगर रह सकता है तो. तीसरा is unhealthy lifestyle. Unfortunately, unhealthy lifestyle is a very important contributing factor and one of the very important factor in causation of cancer. हमारी lifestyle, unhealthy food, unhealthy diet, lack of exercise, tobacco ingestions, alcoholism, these can also unfortunately lead towards the occurrence of cancer. And if the patient is already having certain chronic inflammatory conditions or a patient already had one history of cancer, so ये सब चीज़ें जो है, these will all contribute towards the increased risk of malignancy, increased risk of cancer. अभी हमने देखा in the flow chart. Now why basically cancer happens. We have tried to know the risk factors. Now imagine we are all made up of millions of cells. अगर हम एक सेल को देखे जाए तो हमारा जो बॉडी का पूरा कंपोजिशन है, that is all working in a wonderful in a wonderful environment, and everything is very coordinated. Now imagine it can be likened to a small society mein everybody is living with harmony, and suddenly there is an antisocial element or a psychopath has suddenly entered into a society. तो क्या होगा, देयर विल बी अ ह्यूज डिस्टर्बेंस इन द एंटायर सोसाइटी, एंड देयर कैन बी अ ट्रिमेंडस negative impact on the entire society. Somewhat similar, cancer cells can be likened to an antisocial element or a psychopath. Why? Because they do not have a respect for the right of other cells. They violate all the principles of a normal cellular organization. जो पर्टिकुलर वे में सब सेल्स काम कर रहे हैं हमारे बॉडी के, कैंसर सेल्स इमीडिएटली खुद को अलग कर देते हैं और वो अपने मन से अपने हिसाब से दे विल ट्राई टू इंक्रीज इन देयर कैपेसिटी, एंड उनका जो प्रोलिफरेशन है, उनका जो ग्रोथ है, वो टोटली अनकंट्रोल हो जाता है, जिसके वजह से व्हाट दे डू इज दे विल ट्राई टू स्प्रेड एंड दूसरी जगह पर पहुंचने की कोशिश करते हैं. एंड बिकॉज ऑफ विच क्या होता है, सबसे पहले कि पहले तो खुद का पूरा जो आसपास का एरिया है दैट दे आर ट्राइंग टू डिस्ट्रॉय, एंड स्लोली आसपास का जो इतना पर्टिकुलर एरिया है इट विल स्लोली स्टार्ट स्प्रेडिंग. सो अनफॉर्चुनेटली this is the basic mechanism, or at the level of a cellular organization cancer cells would act in certain similar way. Now हमने देख लिया है कि कैंसर जो है वो कौन से रीजंस के वजह से देयर कैन बी एन अकरेंस, and how now the up to the basic cellular mechanism the cancer cell is now started working. Now imagine that a person has got this antisocial element or a cancer cell harboring inside his or her body. Slowly the cancer cells start to proliferate. Now how will the symptoms of cancer look like, और या फिर प्रेजेंटेशन कि ये कैंसर सेल्स जो है वो कैसा शुरू करेगा धीरे धीरे बॉडी में बताना. सो अगेन देयर आर 3 important aspects. What are the symptoms of cancer? They can be divided under 3 broad categories. One is unexplained symptoms, second is persistent symptoms, and the third one is unusual symptoms. Unexplained, persistent, unusual. कैसे? How do we try to correlate it? A 50-year-old female without any history of any injury or trauma, suddenly she has a development of a lump or a swelling in the left side of the breast, for example. Abhi it is unexplained. We cannot explain it that why it has suddenly started coming up, right? या फिर there is a bleeding which is not normal. Suddenly patient has got cough and there is significant amount of bleeding which is unexplained. या फिर there is a significant amount of weight loss. Patient is not on dieting, he or she is not taking any adequate measures for weight loss, but still patient is experiencing that there is significant amount of weight loss which is happening. वजन अपने आप घटना over a period of time, right? So this is again unexplained. Why it is happening? So we should be alarmed that there is something wrong which is happening with the body. It is not that we should get panicky. ऐसा नहीं है कि ये 100% it is indicating towards cancer, but one should be more alert that अगर ऐसा कुछ situation हो रहा है, then it is always better to be immediately you should go and get your consultation done with the respective authority or your doctor. Similarly, pain which does not go away for a very long time, you are taking lot of painkillers, but still that pain is there and which is unexplained. Now, similarly, I would like to jump to the second point, that is persistent. Cough or so shortness of breath या फिर change in voice which is persistent. पिछले 1.5-2 महीने के ऊपर हो गया है, but cough जो है वो जा ही नहीं रहा है. या फिर there is a small sore or a lesion in the tongue or mouth, inside the mouth, and which is persistent. पिछले 1.5-2 महीने में कितना भी आपने उसको मेडिकेशन किया है and वो that is not getting cured, that is not getting healed, So that again is a persistent symptom, and it might be worrisome. Again, you have to take consultation at the earliest in case if the symptoms are persistent. And the third one is unusual, right? Unusual is your change in your normal bowel or bladder habits. uh, फॉर एग्जाम्पल जैसा टॉयलेट जो है वो दिन में एक या दो बार होता है, सडनली इट हैज चेंज ओवर अ पीरियड ऑफ टाइम विच इज अनएक्सप्लेन्ड, persistent, and now it has started becoming very unusual for your own body. या फिर there is a change in the breast region. Suddenly the skin over the breast has certain unusual features, skin कुछ अलग texture का लग रहा है, या फिर suddenly there is an unusual discharge from the nipple. So these are some of the things which can again point towards the happening of cancer inside. It does not mean that in all cases there is going to be cancer, but yes, in certain cases one can encounter cancer at one particular stage. So that's why it is always better to have an early consultation done with your doctor at the earliest. So जैसा मैंने आपको बताया कि there can be change in your normal swallowing habits. Patient is not able to swallow food for a very long period of time. That can indicate that there might be certain some problem with the food pipe also. So या फिर if there is blood in urine or vaginal bleeding can be there, blood in stools, right? And there is unexplained night may there is a lot of sweating which can happen. So these are also some of the indicators that there can be a cancer inside. Now, okay, we have come across the symptoms of cancer that a person XYZ has come to know that there are certain unexplained, persistent, and unusual symptoms which he or she is having. Now, if these symptoms are present, how does he diagnose and confirm it? तो इसके लिए now we come to the next part of our talk, that is how do we diagnose cancer. So again there are three important elements which I would like to highlight upon. One and the most important one is the good clinical examination. Conventionally, good clinical examination is the best possible way by which cancer can be picked up at a very early stage, right? So as I said, one of those symptoms which are already present, in case if they are there, better is to have a good clinical examination and consultation with a doctor. Okay, so what does conventional clinical examination include? Your doctor will get your general examination done and pertaining to your symptoms, and he will try to find out the signs and what exactly is the underlying problem. Now, for example, in breast, okay, there patient complains that there is a certain lump which is present. In a good clinical examination, the doctor will immediately come to know that there is a suspicious lump which is present in right or left breast in whatever quadrant, and depending on that, he will, in order to confirm it that whether this is cancer or not, he will then subject you to further pathological tests. So the three important elements would be clinical examination, pathological testing, and radiological as well as nuclear medicine tests. So after the consultant or the doctor is convinced that there is something definitely inside, he may order certain other things like diagnostic scopies also. This example which I gave was of breast cancer, but for example, in case if a patient is having difficulty in swallowing, then he may order that I would like to put you through a diagnostic upper GI scopy, that is upper gastrointestinal scopy, in which a scope would be introduced directly through the mouth and the particular area would be totally screened. Now, there is something which is suspicious in breast or in food pipe as I mentioned. Now, how do I confirm it? The next part of the confirmation would be pathological test. Like all of us are aware about blood test, urine test, stool test. So blood tests and urine tests also can be extremely helpful for us in telling what exactly is happening inside the body. In fact, some of the cancers can be picked up by using certain blood tests and detecting certain tumor markers from the blood. So after that, I might decide to put in a needle and take out some tissue, or a wide bore needle to take out some small chunk of the tissue and subject it for further testing. अभी उसमें क्या है, ये जहां पर हमने सुई डालकर जांच किया हुआ है, that we will then subject for microscopic examinations, and the pathologist would then tell us that whether the tissue which has been sampled, that is cancer or not, and if yes, then what type of cancer. And many other different tests can be done through that one particular examination, like what is the cancer made up of, what are the receptors which are present, whether it is going to respond well to this or that treatment. Everything can be picked up through a good pathological testing. Now, for pathological test, as I said, needle test we can also sometimes use endoscopic testing, or also even surgery. Like for example, if the lesion is very small and it is very doubtful for us to put in a needle, then maybe we can also order for a small surgical procedure known as wide excision, and we can send it for the pathological testing. Similarly, endoscopy or thoracoscopy, laparoscopy can also be done, in which we would visualize the abdomen, take particular tissue out, and then subject it for pathological examination whether that is cancer or not. Now, similarly, we come to the third part, that is radiological tests and nuclear medicine tests. So, once that specimen from suspected area is available in pathology, we can subject it for further testing like histopathology, tumor marker, receptor molecular analysis, specific gene studies, immunohistochemistry, which would definitely then confirm whether there is cancer or not. So that's why that importance of pathological testing. Now, unfortunately, on pathology, it has come that there is cancer which is present. Now I need to know that whether the cancer has, what is the extent of cancer, whether it has involved certain local areas, or whether it has also spread to other organs, because depending on that, my further treatment in order to tackle cancer would start. So for that, I need to subject the patient to different radiological tests and nuclear medicine scans. Like for example, हमको सबको पता है कि छाती का चेस्ट एक्सरे या फिर एक्सरे ऑफ एब्डोमेन, this is one particular radiological test. Then similarly for bones also, x-rays are extremely important to know whether there is an underlying malignancy or not. Then sonography, that is ultrasound, mammography for breast, CT scan, MRI. Recently one of the very interesting tool, that is PET scan, and also special nuclear scans like thyroid scan, which we can do. So जिसमें PET scan में PET scan along with CT scan, in case if we do come in toto together, so we can pick up that whether there is any metabolic activity which is present in particular area, and it can screen the entire body. So now, after your clinical diagnosis, pathological diagnosis, and after radiological diagnosis, you get a complete picture that okay, this is unfortunately cancer, and depending on these different investigations, this is a particular stage of the cancer. Right now, diagnosis is confirmed. What now? The most important, but unfortunately the most neglected part, that is the patient's perspective towards cancer. जो हमारे रूटीन प्रैक्टिस में आता है कि सबसे इम्पॉर्टेंट पेशेंट का मेंटल psychology, or the moment patient and his near and dear ones, they understand that there is a diagnosis of cancer, what next? Because it is very very troubling for us also at times when we see certain patients. I remember a case wherein a 10-year-old boy came with a swollen limb, and unfortunately the diagnosis was malignancy in that case. And imagine he had come with his grandfather, and when we told that unfortunately his limb may have to be removed in that case, it is like they are shattered. So the most important part is that we have to take into consideration patient and their near and dear ones perspective towards cancer. There are obvious questions जो हमको patient routine इसमें पूछते हैं कि why it has happened only to me, and it is very obvious that thing might come up in anyone's mind that why it has happened to me. Then if I have cancer, am I going to die soon? Then can it be cured and treated completely? What treatment should I consider best for myself? Then another important part is कि now for the entire treatment it is going to be expensive. How will my family cope up? इतना अगर उसमें खर्चा आने वाला है, मेरे फैमिली के ऊपर मेरा बर्डन हो जाएगा. Now how will my family try to cope up? How would be my quality of life post treatment? And how do I accept the new normal? Because till now your normal routine life was different, and once the diagnosis of cancer, it is like you have to adapt to a new normal after treatment. And most important is, will I ever be able to lead a healthy normal life? That is another important part. So the best part about it is that now all of us all over the world, in fact, all the cancer specialists, the caregivers, everybody is now going to fight with a team approach to this dangerous illness. That is, like me, I am a surgical oncologist. I would try to tackle cancer through surgery. Then there are medical oncologists, as I mentioned, their part would be to take care of the patient through chemotherapy, immunotherapy, recent advances like targeted therapy, hormonal treatment. Then radiation oncologists, those who would try to kill cancer through radiation protocols and through the radiation beams. Then there is a team of oncoanesthesiologists and pain management teams. Pain is one very disturbing part, and in fact, according to the literature, 30 more than 30 to 50% of the patients, they do have significant amount of pain in cancer. So there are now pain management teams. Then there are dedicated oncoradiologists who will be specialized only and only finding out the important parts about cancer on through radiology. Then there is a team of oncopathology. It is a very big branch, and the recent diagnostics like molecular diagnostics and genetic testing are also being incorporated into their branch. Then there are oncoplastic surgeons and reconstructive surgeons. Nursing staff is now being trained for specifically taking care of cancer patients. Then there is rehabilitation, physiotherapy department, nursing staff, then nutritionists. Then in case if the cancer is above a particular above our limits, and in case if it is a palliative case, that is it has already spread to different parts, now there are palliative care experts also who will try to take care of the patient in the best possible way and try to decrease his agony in the best and the most prudent ways. Then there are psychological and psychiatric counselors. We have to kind of take care of this tremendous emotional turmoil. I know because I have myself gone through it, and I very well understand that it is extremely tough for us as even family members to cope up with this situation. And the most important part also is the near and dear ones, the caretakers, and the like minded groups. So, all of us together have now teamed up, and in most parts of the world we are working as a multidisciplinary team in fighting towards cancer. So as I mentioned, I would like to quickly take you through three important parts as to what are the treatments. One is, as I said, surgical oncology, that branch which I have specialized in. It deals with the surgical aspects of dealing with cancer. That is, how do you basically remove cancer from the body through operations. In layman's terms, it is basically cancer operation, and you try to remove as well as try to take care of the areas wherein the cancer might spread in future. So you try to prophylactically remove those areas also. So that basically the entire branch, we have a super specialty course after surgery in dealing only and only with cancer patients, which is surgical oncology. Then there is another branch which I mentioned, that is medical oncology branch, which is concerned with conventionally all of us know chemotherapy. Now there is hormonal treatment, targeted therapy. Targeted therapy is very precise. That is chemotherapy drugs which were always used and in fact also used currently. So they have certain side effects because even the normal cells might get affected when you are trying to target the cancer cells. So now the researchers and the oncologists have come up with wonderful treatments like targeted therapies, in which only and only the cancer cells might be targeted, and by which you can decrease the side effects for a particular patient. And also the recent ones, which is known as immunotherapy, in which the body's own immune system is trying to fight against the cancer cells. So all these are the recent advances also which are happening in the branch of medical oncology. And as I said, radiation oncology, that is radiation therapy to target tumors. And now there are extremely focused radiation branches, and also like image guided radiation therapy, yeah, or immunomodulated radiation therapies are also being used for intensity modulated radiations, so by which you can prevent side effects to the surrounding organs and trying to maximize the effect of radiation over cancer cells. So basically, now how our treatment in recent times has changed. So all of us as cancer doctors are trying to focus on four important aspects, right? So four important aspects are: one is oncological clearance, that is you need to kind of remove the cancer in toto and take care of that it does not spread, right? That is one. Second is cosmesis of the patient. Now, for example, previously we used to remove the entire breast as well as all the axillary lymph nodes for a patient of breast cancer. Now, in certain areas, we are able to give a better cosmesis to the patient, and we are able to reconstruct the breast of the patient. And there are many techniques like breast conservation surgery, which forms the fourth point, that is organ preservation. We are now coming more towards organ preservation protocols, in which the normal organ function can also be safeguarded in order while we are tackling cancer. And importantly, nowadays we are trying to focus on quality of life care. That is extremely important. We want all our patients to have a very good quality of life. So all these recent advances, recent modalities are they are a boon, and in fact it is ever emerging in all different aspects. It is coming up in the best possible manner. Now we saw that okay, these can be the treatment modalities. At this stage, uh, for a normal person who has never been affected, can the person do something to prevent it, or basically can cancer be prevented? um, Now this is again one unfortunate part, because Dulbeko, he has very rightly mentioned that we as a society, we do not seem to be prepared to accept the sacrifices which are required for an effective prevention of cancer. हमारा जो खुद का लाइफस्टाइल है, काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें हम सोसाइटी में खुद को चेंज करना नहीं चाहते हैं. एंड believe me, there are around one thirds of cancers. That is, if in case if you see 100 cancer patients, 33 to 35 पेशेंट्स जो रहते हैं उसमें, उनको कैंसर से ऑलरेडी बचा सकते थे. So around one third of the cancers which are happening can be prevented. And how? The most important causes are the frequently told ones, like the tobacco smoking. It is one of the most important cause for causing cancer. In case if a person does not smoke, does not use tobacco, the cancer can definitely be prevented at a very early stage, and cancer occurrence can only be prevented. Now there are other factors like alcohol, excess body weight. This is a very important part. All of us neglect it. Excess body weight, obesity, जैसा मोटापा basically. There are certain cancers, in fact, जिसमें one of the etiological factors is excess body weight. Body weight बहुत ज़्यादा रहने के वजह से there can be certain cancers which can happen. So one has to take care that lack of physical activity also is one of the important factors, and you should be physically active in order to avoid certain cancers. So there are ways by which you can prevent cancer, and there are certain vaccines also available, like hepatitis B, hepatitis C. These are important. Human papilloma virus, which can be one of the causative factors for cervical cancer. So there are certain vaccines also which are available. Hepatitis B virus का जो vaccine है, to a certain extent it can also prevent the happening of cancer, because hepatitis B over a period of time itself can lead to cancer. Then another important part is can cancer be genetic? So in 5 to 10% of cases, there can be a genetic inheritance of cancer. Certain genes can definitely be transferred from one generation to another generation, and so many of the patients, they do ask us that when should we consider for genetic counseling, or when we should get investigated. So see, there are certain aspects to genetic counseling or screening protocols. That is, if there are several first degree relatives, first degree means mother, father, sister, brother, they are all having, most of them are having cancers. That is one alarming feature wherein you have to consult a doctor that my first degree relatives are having certain issues. Many relatives on one side of the family who have same type of cancer. I recently, unfortunately, I came across a family. That patient came to me with a family tree, and it was like from his great grandfather, all of them, some or rather, in every generation there are patients who are having colon malignancies. And in fact, that patient presented me with that family tree. It was very unfortunate to see that many relatives on one side of the family were having same type of cancer. So yes, in those patients, you definitely need to have a genetic counseling done. And a cluster of cancers in your family which are linked to the same gene, that is ब्रेस्ट एंड ओवरी, ये जो है, ये दोनों कैंसर्स एक जीन के थ्रू जा सकते हैं. फैमिली मेंबर जिसमें एक से ज़्यादा टाइप के कैंसर्स है, या फिर एट अ वेरी अर्ली एज इफ द पेशेंट इज हैविंग कैंसर लाइक ब्रेस्ट कैंसर एट लेस देन 30-35 years old female having breast cancer. So उसमें then one has to kind of be aware about genetic counseling and certain close relatives which are also linked to these cancer syndromes. So, yes, there are ways by which you can detect cancer early. You need to be aware about all those factors and the symptoms which I told, as well as you need to undergo self examinations. Like for females, breast cancer examinations, self examinations are extremely important. And many a times, screening like pap smear for cervical cancers, that should be encouraged after a particular age group. And in case if there are any suspicious symptoms, you need to consult your doctors at the earliest. Now, on the same note, towards the end, I would like to tell you that you need not be disheartened that cancer is so powerful. There are a lot of advances also happening in cancer treatment, and I was fortunate to witness many of them. Like nowadays, we have got in cancer surgery, we have fluorescence based cancer surgery, in which precisely we can target particular cancer cell. We can find it out during our surgery through particular dyes which can show fluorescence intraoperatively, and we can just sample those particular parts and we can send it for examination like pathology. And in case if that comes negative, maybe we can avoid further dissection. Like in breast cancer in breast cancer surgeries, we can use this fluorescence based cancer surgery. Another interesting part is robotic surgery, in which robotic arms are used for very fine and very precise movements, and cancer surgeries can be done preserving very critical areas, at the same time resecting most of it. Now, there is also a concept of personalized oncology. Previously, one cancer, it was a blanket treatment. Now, you can basically get your genetic mapping done for that particular cancer, and precise medicines, as I said about targeted therapy, can be particularly used. That is known as personalized oncology. It is now slowly developing, and it is a very, very promising branch. As I already mentioned, immunotherapy, targeted therapy, these are some of the fantastic developments which are coming in, and we are already seeing its results. At the same time, even in pathology, we have now, as compared to the conventional surgical or biopsy, in which we have to enter into difficult zones like lung or brain. Nowadays, there is a concept of liquid biopsies, in which through a blood sample also, sometimes there can be the lung cancer can be diagnosed at a very, very early stage using just the blood sample. So that is a liquid biopsy. Already I mentioned about radiation oncology, that is image guided and intensity modulated radiation therapies. There are a lot of advances which are happening even in the branch of prosthesis, reconstruction and rehabilitation. There are wonderful prosthesis now which are boosting the self-confidence of the cancer patients, giving them a much better self-esteem than which was previously thought of. So very good advances which are happening even in that front. And another interesting part, which is altogether a different topic, is incorporation of artificial intelligence in cancer treatment. So artificial intelligence is altogether a different branch. In cases of COVID and cancer, I would just like to quickly take you that it is some of the cancer therapies in which the immune system is put down. It can have certain effects, and the COVID one has to be more careful. But at the same time, cancer patients should also follow the same precautions as other normal patients, like using a face mask, use of hand sanitizer with at least 60% alcohol, then cleaning your hands regularly with soap and water for 20 seconds. These are all applicable to the cancer patients also. And we should also look up to all optimistic and good real life examples whom we follow, like Manisha Koirala, Sonali Bindre, Yuvraj Singh, who have really fought. And I'm sure that many of you also who are attending this session are heroes for us in real life. We really salute you. And to conclude, most important is that cancer awareness is of paramount importance. It is the first step in fighting against cancer. All of us need to be aware about. If detected early, cancer can be fought and defeated, definitely. We as doctors, patients, cancer warriors, together we should work in this crusade against cancer, and with proper knowledge, use of resources, resilience and determination, we would able to definitely beat this disorder, which is an eternal enigma known as cancer. In the end, I would like to just conclude with this small quotation, that together we can certainly defeat it. It can definitely hurt us mentally, physically, emotionally, socially, economically, but it can never overpower love, relationships, friendships, hope, faith, memories, courage, and to the top of it, it can never destroy our soul. Thank you so much. So, I have certain questions. Uh, when cancer surgery is suggested as a line of treatment, so as I already mentioned, uh, that in the initial parts, in the initial stages, as well as in the advanced stages, see, cancer surgery, it forms an intricate part of treatment. That is, when in the initial phases, we are able to tackle the cancer through surgery. Also, in advanced cases, sometimes we get breast cancer patients, unfortunately, with huge fungating masses. So, even in those cases, we may consider surgery as an option in tackling against this disorder. So that is, cancer surgery is suggested as a line of treatment. It all depends upon the individual presentation of the patient. I already mentioned that there is a if cancer if detected early, there is definitely cancer can be cured. When should we ideally start doing cancer prevention? It should be at the moment you feel and the moment you listen. From that point itself, you should start doing cancer prevention, because there is no end point or a start point for it. The moment you feel, it should always be done. How do people reach stage 4 without noticing it's too late? See, unfortunately, there are certain cancers which show their presentation very late. That is unfortunate. In certain cancers like lung cancer, it can have a very late presentation. So unfortunately, in those cases, you can have directly the presentation of stage 4. But the percentage of patients who are presenting to us with similar presentation is small as compared to the rest of the presentations. One important thing which has been mentioned, that is it true that having surgery in the cancer area, it would make the cancer spread? So this most of our patients, they do ask us that whether this is the thing or not. But to be honest, we came across a lot of literature and there is no data which really mentions. In fact, if that would have been the scenario,
none of the specialists would have ever considered the surgical intervention in case if it would have been spreading so fast. So per se cancer surgery or even biopsy, it hardly leads to spread of the cancer tissue. There are very few anecdotal reports, but it all depends upon even the biology of the cancer. So it has to be all individualistic. Is there any advanced treatment for cancer patient who has stage 4? As I mentioned, something like immunotherapy. There are recent treatments like immunotherapy, targeted therapy, which are coming in, and they are ushering a lot of optimism in our cancer treatment. And we really look forward. And in fact, many of our patients, they do respond very well to even sometimes, as I said about palliative mastectomies. So patient are having a good prognosis post interventions, and it is always worthwhile to consult your doctor before taking a certain decision. What are the initial symptoms of lung cancer? As I already mentioned, it can be put forward in again those three things: unusual, persistent, and unexplained. So cough, change in voice, these can be breathlessness, breathing difficulties. These can be sometimes then blood in cough, which is known as hemoptysis. They can be sometimes the initial presentations. Role of robotics in cancer, that is in fact one of my own personal favorite topics. Lot of cancers being tackled upon using robotic technology, and as I already mentioned, it has very precise and extremely pinpoint movements, and it gives us a lot of dexterity also. And imagine you are directly sitting inside the abdomen. The picture is similar to that. So there is a lot of role of robotics also. And so these are some of the questions, and it was wonderful interacting with all of you on this very august platform. And I am thankful to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. And I hope that all of us would be connected even in future. Thank you.